It's Queer Games Heck Yeah time! Oh dear. I mean, I've ironically done the whole thing sort of like super bubbly, like, heck yeah, we love queer games, but also it's like, I think I actually do enjoy it on that level. It's just so like wholesome to be here. It's just such a highlight of my day. When I first started doing these streams, I had a really long intro that went for like minutes about the importance of queer games and everything. And I completely burnt myself out on that. But queer games are really important. Deep insights into other humans', souls and spirits. And I just think that's a really special connection to make with other people. Although it's all one way, really, isn't it? Because they don't know anything about me. I've learned the term parasocial recently. I'm sure kids are learning about it in like year 10 media studies nowadays, but it's all new to me. And so now everything I'm looking at going, is this a parasocial relationship? I think what you have here is a parasocial relationship. Or I'm talking to friends and I'll be like, oh, just be careful about forming a parasocial relationship here. I mean, I don't quite know what it means. I'm still figuring it out, but like, I figure the more I use the word based on people's reactions of either disgust or like little nods, that'll help me narrow down what it actually means. Play 1,000 queer games, live 1,000 queer lives, I think. So what are we playing today? We're playing Our Wonderland. By the way, it's great to be back. It's been a while since we did Queer Games Heck Yeah, but now we are here. We have a purpose. We're helping out with the Queer Games Festival 2024. So we're playing through these games and we're taking some screenshots. So every so often I'll be pausing, but I might edit that out because you don't need to see all the little work that's going on, do you? You're just here for a good time. All two bots that are watching this. I know nothing about these games, so if you don't like surprise content, look away. I did notice when I started up this game, it had all these warnings. I didn't read them, but also said it had like a streamer mode and a censored mode. So because this is a stream and because it's Queer Games Heck Yeah, I have put on the censored mode, even though I do think I'm part of the problem by censoring, stories and art. What am I contributing, really? I'm kind of like betraying, our free spirits, I guess. But, I live in the real world. Just playing these games is a revolutionary act. Alright, let's go. Let's get started. Let's not dilly-dally. Let's not tally-tilly. Speaking of tallies, the Olympics are on. Nothing puts a spring in my step like people just doing the best. It's amazing. Oh no, another essay! Oh, how many essays does this game have to have? Well, we'll figure it out. Gosh, okay. It's a visual novel. How hard can it be to navigate? Like, if we actually have to do any work in this game, I'll be surprised, because visual novels, they're mostly just clicking enter. Oh, I'm 11 years old the first time we enter Wonderland. Okay, got a bit of a coming of age vibe. This could work. 1998. Oh, so we're playing a historical retro game. Cool. 1998. Was I there? I think I might have been there. What was I doing in 1998? Okay, cute graphics. My obsession, because I make computer games, my obsession at the moment is trying to make the units stand out from the background. And the masters of this are Blizzard. And they recently published, I don't know, could have been years ago, could have been last week, but I recently came across their, like, when they hire an artist, like their house style Bible, and it's just full of all these little things you never think of about making the units stick out from the back of the screen. So like the top halves of the units are brighter than the bottom halves. Each unit has a distinct silhouette. I mean, you've probably figured that out. But anyway, it's just super cool. And I noticed instantly about Our Wonderland is these units stick out from the background. Is everyone ready? Seems like we've got everything, yeah? And this is the biggest tree in the forest, so... Oh, they're loggers. There's a game about logging. Oh dear. This part is important, or at least I think it is. My fingers curl tighter around the worn edges of the book in my lap, and I let my eyes fall to the words on the page. Oh. Do we have a bit of a craft situation? Gidget's closest to me. She's been dubious from the start. Cute graphics. The instructions aren't that complicated, really, which doesn't bode much confidence, but she still doesn't move to leave. The last time your mum cared about where you were coming out from between her... Whoa, hecking legs. Wow. What kind of 11-year-old says that? I tried saying heck in the mirror one time. I know the feeling. I know the problem. I hadn't been able to look at myself in the eye for days. Well, then you've come to the right channel. If anyone cares, I resent that comment about my mother. Guys, I need to get... Now, there was a film a bit before my time called Stand By Me, which I think is based on a Stephen King book. And I haven't read it or seen it, but I've seen the Wikipedia page. I didn't read the Wikipedia page, but I've seen the Wikipedia page in passing. And this is giving me Stand By Me vibes. No, wait. It's giving me... It's giving me Wikipedia page impression about Stand By Me impression. Well, it's 1998. I'm trying to take my mind to 1998 and what that means. I mean, there's The Craft. It's already giving me The Craft. It could be Disney film. It could be Stand By Me. Although I think Stand By Me is like early 80s. By blood alone shall the innocent pass, travelling hand in hand where every wish is your command. Your very own Wonderland. Oh, I see. They're going into Wonderland. You know, the clue was at the start when he said, I remember the first time I went to Wonderland. Blood sacrifice. Oh dear. What kind of Wonderland is it that requires such dramatic entry device? Just go to Disneyland. The silence returns. Another moth flits to and fro in front of the lantern. A grasshopper preens itself atop an especially tall blade of grass. I spot an ant crawling across my bare knee. I resist the urge to flick it away. I see the base of the big old willow, the tallest tree. Its trunk is a massive boulder. Oh, that's a cool little pan. Now with a very visible and very dark hole in its side. Oh, that was just the prologue? That... Visual novels. Every visual novel I've ever played ever, including ones I've made, have needed an editor. Oh, maybe it's over. Oh, is that it? That was a very quick game. We got to the credits already. Oh. Nope, we're gonna have to sit through all the credits. I feel like those are actually spoilers, like showing the art and showing the backgrounds and the sound effects. 20 years later. Okay. Oh, it's reminding me of It now. Another Stephen King novel slash miniseries slash movie series. If it isn't my favorite pigmentally challenged little nerd. Bucks laughs. The resulting convulsions practically make me seasick. I feel like I haven't seen you in years. How the heck are ya? Still doing that computer hacking stuff? You gotta show me how to do that sometimes. Bucks drops me back to the sidewalk. It takes a moment for the world to stop spinning. So what, can I get you a beer or something? I've got the good stuff. Craft from that place just outside of town. She claps her hands together. Let me grab you one. Takes an important sip. Craft beer. I mean, this is probably a confession that I probably shouldn't be putting, like, online. But all beer kind of tastes the same to me. Like, I'll often, when I'm at a pub or I'm out with people, they'll go, let's get a beer. And I'll just go up and I'll say, oh, you know... What's the darkest beer you've got or the strongest beer you've got? And they'll just give it to me. And sometimes friends will be like, wow, I can't believe you're drinking that. I'm like, well, you know, if I get a regular beer, it just tastes gross. And so I may as well get like something that tries to make me feel something. I don't know where I'm going with that story. Oof, I'm really out of practice with queer games, heck yeah. Like, it's good to be back, but also I'm kind of aware that streaming is actually an art form. Wait, no, let's not go too far. Streaming is actually a thing. And there's like, you know how there's match fit for when you're playing sport? There's also like streamer fit. I don't think I'm streamer fit at the moment. But that's okay, we're only here for like half an hour. So, you know, it's not like I'm doing a marathon. Yeah, so, you know, at the start of the game, it showed this big essay about all the controls. But as I suspected, we haven't actually had to do anything yet. Oh, our first choice! This game actually has choices. Oh dear. What if you don't care about either? What if you just want to get to Wonderland? Unless the game is all about how we're chasing like our own personal Wonderland and our own sort of fantasy world, but actually we're in the real world and we should actually be present and like listen to our friends, because especially going through their life stuff. And so the point of the game is not actually Wonderland. The point of the game is to hear about your friends raising their kids. You don't know the half of it. Haven't had a decent night's sleep since that little hecker was born. I've got a few friends who've had kids, and I'm like really, really interested in their personalities. And same with like dog, when people get a dog, I'm like, oh, is it old enough to tell like what's its personality? And so with my friends, I'm always like, oh, what kind of person do you think your kid will be? And over a few beers, they do kind of tell you what they what they really think of the kid. And it's always like positive, but also like, a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old is a little human. It is a little person, and it's kind of funny to see them grappling with that. I've got friends, they're the gentlest people I know. And their kid's a little bossy, like not in a mean way or anything, but just kind of like, you can tell exactly what this person's going to be like as an adult. Yeah, it's an interesting one. A bird whistles somewhere up in the trees, and I pick at a hunk of something between my top left molars. That is really... I was at the dentist yesterday, and it's a new dentist for me. And he's really good, you can tell. He's like really passionate and good at his job. But also, he lives in just like dentist world, like teeth world. And there's like, I guess, community expectations for teeth care. And then there's probably like dentist expectations for tooth care. And he is like really at the far end. I'm pretty good with my teeth. Like I brush them twice a day and I floss occasionally, is what I tell the dentist. But he was right over here. And so he was like, well, Luke, I'm going to give you a second type of toothbrush so you can reach your back molars. So right. And like, 2 toothbrushes. And you go, yes, use your regular toothbrush on your teeth and then use the special curved one on the back of your back teeth. I was like, okay. And he goes, then, of course, floss, twice a day. I was like, twice? Do you mean like twice a month, maybe? He's like, no, twice a day. And then also he goes, and also I've got these dental picks for you. And he pulls out these like completely terrifying to me little sticks with like jagged little edges. And he goes, yes, and just stick these ones between your teeth. And he goes, and I'll give you 2 types. I'll give you small ones for the smaller gaps and a large one for the larger gaps. And so I'm just lying in the chair, obviously unable to kind of like escape. And this dentist is like telling me I have to use 2 toothbrushes, floss, and 2 different types of dental picks. I'm like, I love my teeth and I want to have good teeth, but also I feel like he's over here for tooth care, and I'm like halfway up the scale, and I'm like, I can go up like I'm on a 5 out of 10, obviously, for tooth care. I mean, he may say, Luke, you're a 2, but I reckon I'm a 5 or a 6, maybe even a 7. But he wants me at a 10 out of 10. I'm just kind of like, look, I can probably move it up to a 6 and every so often peak at a 7, but there's no way I can run my tooth care regime at a 10 out of 10 every day. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't say any of that to him. I just wanted to get out of that chair and get home. Yeah, it was a rough gig. But as I said, he was a very good dentist, and I was very confident in his abilities and his skills. But also, I don't want to let him down. But also, I am going to let him down. By the time I twist backwards, all I am's already a good 5 inches closer than what's socially acceptable for casual conversation. I'm going to screenshot that. Hey, Orlam, I didn't hear you. Slither up. I take a step backwards. That's cute. Orlam takes a step forward. He looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. We've all got friends like that. Long time, no chew the fat. How fares the daily strife? I take an extra large slug of my beer. Oh, same old, same old. You're still writing code for top secret government espionage projects, Mr. Hackenslash? If by top secret government espionage projects you mean a new website for Ruckman's this and that, then yes, that's exactly what I've been doing. I had a friend. I went to I had some friends in a band, and they were playing for the first time in a couple of years. I went along, and a friend of theirs was there, who I hadn't seen in like 10 years because he had moved to Canberra, which is another city, and then he moved from Canberra to New Zealand, which is another country, but he just moved back to Melbourne. Now, when he moved to Canberra, we were kind of told he was working for the Department of Defence, and if you asked him, one of my friends told me that he was working for the Department of Defence and couldn't talk about it. And so, like, at a party, you just go, oh, so are you working at the Department of Defence? He goes, I can't talk about it. But I could never tell whether he was just, like, maintaining the joke or the charade, you know? And whether he actually was working at the Department of Defence and couldn't talk about it. Or like he was working at the Department of Defence but obviously could talk about it but just didn't. Or he was working somewhere completely different. And so yeah, at this gig the other night, I was like, oh, you're back from New Zealand? And he's like, yes. And then I was like, oh, and how is Canberra? Was it the Department of Defence? And he was like, oh, I still can't talk about it. And I just can't tell whether he's joking with me or not. My beer's almost gone. I squint as I look down into the opening. The beer's almost gone, and also our half hour is almost up, so we're going to wrap it up in the next few minutes, I think. But I kind of I always like to get past the prologue. If the game's very long, if it's 5 hours, 30 hours, 120 hours, honest in the first half hour, sometimes you barely make it through the prologue. So I don't know if we're going to get to the meat of the game, as it were, the actual Wonderland, if there is actually a Wonderland. I mean, I still don't know, but as I said, we'll just give it a few more minutes. The sound of footsteps on the porch catches my attention. Oh, that's so cute. Alright, well, I'm going to screenshot that. Then I'm going to save it. Alright, that was just a brief look at Our Wonderland, so I can take some screenshots. What I really liked about the game was it had a very dark sense of humor. I have a very, very dark sense of humor, which is why I kind of have to go Queer Games heck yeah, because it's a little reminder to myself to just kind of, not go for the jugular. But I feel like it's really refreshing to play a game that is a bit more unfiltered, and I think that it's probably quite a substantial game, so if you are looking for a long play, I think Our Wonderland would be a good get. I really thought there was a real cool dynamic to the interpersonal relationships of these characters. Like, they're all kind of seem to be in a turbulent state, like all of them. And turbulence means good drama. Sometimes you play a game or read a book or watch a show where everybody gets on. And nobody has any flaws. But I can tell here that maybe they're not all particularly pleasant people. And they're not friends, but there's certainly a bit of distance between them all, which I think is really interesting. If you have other game suggestions, leave them below, although I do have a pretty full roster at the moment because I am working through the games from the Queer Games Festival. But I'll just do what I want. Yeah, bye.